What it do, cucks this? It's your boy, the hater, up in this bitch. Another video on the way from your boy here. This one is about how much SmackDown sucks ass. The reality is that SmackDown is obviously a failing show. If it weren't for John Cena and a few other notable wrestlers like maybe Randy Orton, and sometimes, like maybe twice a year, Roman Reigns, this show would be off the air as we know it, right? The July 4th episode of SmackDown, the viewership is in, cucks. It drew an unimpressive 1.1 million and change, right? That means nobody gave a rat's ass about SmackDown. Now, I know some of you are thinking already, the excuses are churning up, you know what I mean? People are already talking like they have the answer. They're like, oh, it was July 4th, hater. What does that mean, right? Still a Friday. It's a day that everyone's off. People are drunk. They're at parties together, right? To me, this seems like the optimal time to watch wrestling, right? Doesn't make any sense for people to be like, oh, it's July 4th. People are doing things. What are they doing? You know what I mean? Because July 4th is like a day holiday. You know what I mean? It's celebrated during the day usually. And then furthermore, yeah, a few people are going to go look at the fireworks if you live in like a major city, but that's not going to be enough to make a dent, right? And people were saying, well, the Macy's like firework on NBC thing was on TV. It's like, what the fuck? Just think about the demographic overlap, right? The people that watch wrestling are not people that are supposed to be attracted to fireworks. Now, yeah, I understand the hater is one of the first to point out that the wrestling audience of today is largely composed of the neckbeard demographic who probably do like to go watch fireworks. Oh, that one's nice. It's red, white, and blue. Like, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? The reality is that wrestling is supposed to be an entirely different demographic than the people that like fireworks. Fireworks are largely for children. Now, I know adults enjoy a firework here and there. The hater, historically, I've enjoyed setting off fireworks. I'm a big fan of setting off fireworks, you know? But I'm not watching no fucking Macy's firework parade. I didn't even know that was a thing until I was trying to find information on the SmackDown ratings, right? The reality is, if you have something awesome planned, people are gonna watch that, right? Especially on a day where, like, no matter who you are, you're pretty much off on July 4th. And you're probably not working the next day either, you know? Certainly if you're someone that has like a regular 9 to 5, right? Most people don't work on Saturdays, and most people don't work on July 4th. It's like the ultimate day. It should have like the highest viewership, of the year. Maybe not of the year, but definitely of the summer, you know? And the problem is this, right? The problem is this. There's always an excuse. You know, they're like, once September comes around, there's football, there's basketball when basketball's around. Oh, there's this event, and then there's that event. All the Olympics were on this year. There's always a fucking excuse, right? The excuses are basically like, they outnumber the number of events. It's to the point now where people are more likely to just like find the excuse than to actually have an excuse built in. They look at the viewership, they're like, oh, it sucked ass. And they're like, oh, I wonder what we could blame it on this time. Oh, let's see, My Little Pony season premiere was on today. I'm sure the neckbeards, are overlap with that group, right? But the reality is, you don't need to look at external events. You don't need to look at the fucking firework parade. Oh, the firework parade drew the viewers. It's like, what the fuck? Who are these people that like wrestling and like firework parades? You know what I'm saying? Doesn't make any sense, If you had like a football game during this time and the firework parade, like the viewership would not dip at all. And football is something that's watched by like a lot of people. Like it's watched by regular people, like women watch football, kids watch football. Wrestling is pretty much watched by like me, you guys, and then a bunch of neckbeard virgins, But anyways, I think personally, it's much easier to explain why the viewership is down, by looking at SmackDown itself than by looking at the July 4th, as a holiday and as something that creates competition in TV, which is complete horseshit, It's very easy. It's very easy, right? If in your main event, you have JC Fateo, right, and Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso, I think that explains why nobody gives a flying fuck, right? They know that if they tune in, They ain't seen John Cena. You know what I'm saying? They're not even seeing Randy Orton. And if they see Cucky Rhodes, it won't be for him to have a match. It'll just be him there, hanging out, doing fuck all. You know? The best you can hope for is like Drew McIntyre. You know? That's like the best wrestler you can hope to see on a random Friday. And he's been gone for a minute too. I know he just came back, but I think you understand what I'm getting at here, right? It's not something that is sustainable. Nobody is going to tune in to watch JC Mateo. Think about it. Think about it. Why would anyone like do anything that involves turning the channel to watch JC Mateo wrestle somebody? You know, who the fuck are these nobodies, you know? And then people are like, oh, it's the competition of the July 4th fireworks parade. I'm telling you right now, motherfuckers, the fireworks parade is not going to outdraw the people's champion, The Rock. It's not going to outdraw Hulk Hogan. But it will obviously outdraw JC Mateo. It will obviously outdraw Jacob Fatu. Because none of these guys are stars. None of these guys are draws, motherfucker. And that's just how it is, you know? But now let's move on and discuss really quickly what 1.1 million viewers means, right? Obviously, the most staggering thing about 1.1 million is that the only thing lower is 1 million. And then after that, we're moving on to like no longer being in the million category. We're moving on to 5 figures. 5-figure viewership, which is something that should drive WWE from wherever the fuck they are now, USA Network, back to where they belong, the CW Network, where all the shows that draw like 200,000 can go and thrive, right? This is a colossal failure. You know what I mean? Under Triple H, SmackDown, and obviously Raw, like Raw can hide behind the fact that it's on Netflix for now, but let's be real. This shit's like, you know, it's out of the way. Like now, think about it. Just think about this, right? SmackDown drew 1.1 million. I believe off the top of my head, I could be wrong, but I believe that the first ever episode of AEW Dynamite drew 1.4 million. Now, that might not seem like a big deal, but think about what I'm saying to you, motherfucks. AEW, the highest they've drawn is 1.4 million. And SmackDown, this has to be like the lowest drawing SmackDown of all time. I'm sure there's like some Christmas episode or some other bullshit like that where it's like, unfortunately, on Christmas. And then there's also like, you know, it's like one of those like repeat episodes or like, you know, but like as an actual episode of SmackDown, this has to be the lowest. You know what I mean? Like SmackDown used to show up on Thanksgiving, a much bigger holiday than July 4th, and it would draw millions. Anyways, the point is, that's just how it is, motherfucks. The reality is that AEW, like in their prime, which I understand I'm being a little bit silly because their prime was one day, right? But AEW outdrew SmackDown. So what that means to me is if for some reason, I don't know, let's say that like AEW didn't exist and they decided to debut tomorrow, they would outdraw SmackDown. You see what I'm saying? They would outdraw SmackDown. The other shows are like, I mean, I think it's safe to say now that SmackDown is probably the, you know, the A show, right? Like, it's kind of weird to even think of it that way because SmackDown has never really been the A show except for these last few years, like when it moved to Fox and shit like that. But the reality is this is the A show now, right? This is where Cena wrestles, right? Cena is now a SmackDown guy. Orton is a SmackDown guy. I think Roman Reigns is on SmackDown. Even if he's not, that's when he usually appears. So, like, you know, there you have it. I mean, everything that's worthwhile is on SmackDown. Cucky is on SmackDown, right? Like, and he actually appears there once in a while. So it's like none of these people, even combined, can barely scrape together 1 million. You know what I mean? It's unacceptable, motherfucks. This is just very low-level shit. Like, we're now at a situation where the top WWE stars are about as popular as, like, Dean Ambrose, you know? Like, there's no stars left, and, you know, even if the few people that have some form of star, I don't want to say star power, but some form of star potential, we'll call it, even these motherfucks are not on TV. So, in summation, when your TV show is centered around the existence and wrestling of boring-ass motherfucks like JC Mateo, who, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point he's rivaling Gunther as one of the worst wrestlers of all time, like, in terms of excitement and entertainment. Like, I think he's still a little bit better than Gunther because, like, just because his finisher, the Tour of the Islands, at least is badass, you know? But he doesn't do anything else He does nothing impressive. He's not entertaining, And I'm not trying to blame it on him because he's new, and he's like basically like the Pentagon of SmackDown, meaning that like he's out there wrestling every week. So like kudos to him. But he can't draw a dime. This entire Solo Sikoa thing can't draw a fucking dime, motherfucks. It is a horrible idea. Like these people, like think about it. If all the Samoans were fired, there's no way SmackDown would draw less, right? There's no way. And I think that proves conclusively that none of the Samoans or Tongans have ever drawn a dime in their lives, except for, of course, Roman Reigns and The Rock. It goes without saying those guys have drawn a lot of dimes, especially The Rock. But all the other ones, all the other quote-unquote Nepo babies, nothing wrong with being a Nepo baby if you can draw. Like, Orton is a Nepo baby. Shane McMahon is a Nepo baby. But Shane McMahon has drawn money for this company. Orton has drawn a lot of money for this company, Nobody cares, like, how you get there, right? The point is, can you draw money? Clearly, nobody on SmackDown can draw a goddamn dime, motherfucks. With that being said, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys soon, cuckolds.